Hey there, everybody.
Hey there, everybody.
Welcome into this edition of ESPN FC's Extra Time. Our first Extra Time since Stevie returned from vacation. We welcome in Stuart and Ian.
And there was some doubt.
I was definitely beyond doubt concern, genuine concern for you.
I felt.
When did things come to a head? Obviously, you managed to get on the plane with a different passport, and then things got complicated.
Well, it's starting.
Hold on. I'm told that the first question is actually about this.
All right.
Maybe I should just ask the first question, or they could just read the room and throw it up on the graphic.
You didn't wait long before getting into me. Thanks.
Hey, you think you got the questions there? I already saw them. They're right there on your left hand.
No, that's
not it.
That's the Bruce Arena statement. Here it is.
Yeah, you gave it to me.
Jimmy asks.
Okay.
Before traveling internationally, which item should you have on your person prior to stepping foot on a flight? Take your time, gentlemen. Ale, what would you have?
Well, current passport would be nice. Valid passport would be nice.
See, everybody used to laugh when we used to say that 2 days before we would play in Europe, Ronnie Moran would come round everybody and say, right, you bring your passport in tomorrow morning. Or sorry, the week before, bring your passport in, and everybody go, and then so when you got to the airport, they would give you it back. Because what they would do was checking it.
Make sure.
A, making sure you had one, and B, checking that it was up to date. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. And I got to the check-in at Hartford, gave my US passport, and the guy went, it's out of date. So I was like, what? What? So then I'm still thinking, right, that's me. What am I going to do? And I remember I had my British passport in it.
And why did you have your British passport with you?
Because when you get there, you can go in the shorter queue.
Okay.
That's why. It's easier to get in with your British passport. So I went back with my British passport and said, can I travel with this? And he said yes. And I thought, problem solved. Well, it wasn't.
No, it didn't.
There's a continuation.
Because when I was on my way back, I went to the checkout in Manchester, gave my British passport, and the girl said, well, where's your visa? I said, well, I don't need a visa. I'm an American citizen. So I gave her my passport. And she went, but the passport's out of date, so it doesn't count. So you need a visa. I'm getting on a flight in 2 hours and I need a visa.
So how did you get here?
Well,
let me tell you.
I had to wait the next day because I'm thinking, how am I going to get a visa? And of course the girl goes, you can get it online on your phone.
Oh,
I went like,
game over.
Oh, no.
How are you not still in the Manchester airport?
I did try, by the way. So I got on the Esther, get on it. I'm trying to fill it in, and it's got right. Go forward. I'm trying to go for the win because there was something missing. I had no idea what it was. So I had to go all the way back to where it came from in Liverpool. I had to get help to get the visa. Fortunately, I got the visa within 2 hours.
Wow.
But it said on the thing, this could take up to 72 hours. So I'm panicking. I'm like, what? I've got to stay here for 3 days. I'm supposed to be working with Seb on...
I know. You were hustling back. You were desperate to get back.
But anyway, I got the visa, got to change of flights, and I got home a day late, but I got home.
Okay.
I have to say, Stevie, there were bets going around, and a lot of people were taking the under on this one.
Tell you what.
A lot of people didn't believe that you were coming back.
And by the way, I got to thank immigration were absolutely brilliant because they've saved me a lot of money. Because if I'd gone in with a visa, when I got my passport, I would have to leave the country and then come back in again.
That's what we were all kind of thinking was going to happen to you. Yeah.
But because immigration was fantastic, they got me through as an American citizen, which means I don't have to leave the country again.
He played the big timer card. I think that's what happened.
No, I was panicking, can I assure you. It was yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full. So it was.
Did you have to...
Along with a couple of them.
Did you have to go to the back room? Did they take you to the back room?
Well, they took me in the back room.
Yes, absolutely.
Stevie trying to be serious, to me, is probably one of the funniest things.
I would.
That was tough for you. All right, so the next question, they wanted a scene-by-scene narration of the events at the airport, both while going and coming back. If possible, but I think we pretty much got it.
Got it sorted.
Next question. My mate called to tell me he saw John Arisa this past weekend and was amazed at how old he seemed to have gotten. It was Stevie.
Well, that's not too bad, because John Arisa's at least 10, maybe more years younger than me.
Okay, so you take it as a compliment.
Absolutely, aye.
Okay.
What about Jordan Arisa?
Let me tell you, I can assure you, if he'd seen me on Saturday night, he wouldn't have said that.
I believe we have some pictures.
Oh,
Not of Saturday night,
of
Stevie.
Saturday
Relax.
night, no.
Not of Saturday night. Not of Saturday
So
night.
that's Sammy Lee on the left. Anybody who doesn't know, Sammy won the Champions League with Liverpool. That's David Faircliff.
Wearing the same shirt as you are today, Steve. I
The
see.
original super sub. And that guy showing me the pictures and stuff.
Where are you here?
I'm in a place called Crosby in the Barbers. It just looks like a wee building, but when you go in, it's covered in memorabilia. And the guy shaving me there, Jeff Twentyman his name is, his dad was also called Jeff Twentyman, but he was a legendary scout at Liverpool who brought me to Liverpool, but also, wow, when you think of from Shankly all the way through to when Jeff left, probably middle to late 80s, he brought in all these players that are legendary at Liverpool. He brought them all in.
Who were you hugging there in the first photo?
That was all John Aldridge.
Uh-huh.
Aye, me and Aldo go back. We've got a few tales to tell.
Look at that. Did you have fun?
Oh, it was magic.
Yeah.
Apart from the obvious.
You don't go back a lot, right? So it must be pretty special.
Well, because I can't be bothered, and now you know why.
Yeah, I know.
this whole idea of having a current passport. Wow.
Yeah.
How dare
What a
you.
hassle. What a hassle. Yeah, exactly.
Should be getting on a bus. You should just be able to go.
Getting on a bus? Okay. Not going to dive into the geographical problems with that. Ian, do you have anything to add on Stevie's torturous travels here?
Well, having listened to all that, they don't call him Marco Polo for nothing, do they?
Thank you, Ian.
I mean, thank goodness he's been allowed back into the United States. What would we do on this program without Stevie?
Could you imagine the live hits from the Manchester airport?
Yeah.
Seb,
they're
can I
setting up a
interrupt here?
studio for
Sorry,
him.
Seb, can I just interrupt Ian here?
Go on, Robbo.
I travelled with Ian on a couple of occasions when COVID was at its worst, and we had to go to Italy. And you had to fill in form after form after form to say you were double vaccinated. And Ian's answer to every time we were stopped by anybody was, I've been double vaccinated, you know, I should be allowed through. He must have said that 20 times over the course of our journey into the airport.
They didn't understand a word of it either.
No. It's when you were chasing that woman down the road to say, you've got to be more sensible. It's common sense, you know. Double vaccinated. I should be allowed on.
That's a chase scene I would have liked to see.
I'll tell you what, though. Do you know the one thing on the plane on the way back? You know when somebody coughs? Half the plane does that.
Right, right.
Honestly.
Were you the one coughing?
No, I was doing that.
There's
Just a
another
nice little
story
reminder.
there
Keep
as
it to
well.
yourself.
Say that again,
There's
Robbo?
another story there about Ian, and sorry, Ian, to bring all these up, but we were in a lovely hotel in Milan
Oh, keep it
during the
close, keep the
COVID
pressure
to do
right
the
up.
Nations League finals, and you had to wear a mask the whole time in the hotel. Without fail, every morning for breakfast, Ian came down without his mask and was sent back to his room. Then on the last night, a bloke in the bar coughed. And Ian went, get him out. That bloke coughed. Get him out. True, Ian?
Yeah.
I got very fit on that trip. Keep going back up the stairs to get my mask to bring it down to breakfast.
Hey, about Stewie going, sorry, Ian, to bring all of this up, but let's go ahead and bring it up.
Good to know you're not the only forgetful one here on the crew. Nadim's interior decorator asks for all start, bench, drop. These players that never appeared at a World Cup. George Weah, Eric Cantona, George Best.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ale, you go first.
Okay, thank you, Seth. Oh, man. Boy, I'm gonna take George Weah, then George Best, and then Eric Cantona. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Stevie?
I can't disagree with Ali. I think I'd probably go that way.
Robbo?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with George Best because he was a great player. Then Weah, and then Cantona.
All right. Ian?
I'm going to go George Best because he was one of the greatest players I ever saw in the flesh. He was magical. He had the crowd on his feet every time he got the ball. Cantona on the bench, so that means George Weah has to be dropped.
You cannot bench a precedent. I mean, drop a precedent.
Well, you could, but there'll be consequences.
Yes, that's
Well,
right.
you could make a precedent by dropping a precedent.
Oh, that was wonderful.
What a turn of phrase from Steve.
Thank you.
Let him out of the country for a few days and he
Yeah,
comes
let's
back
let
a
that one.
poet. What? Unbelievable. Beautiful. For Ian, Shaka yesterday said that he did commentary at the Olympics. Have you ever had to do commentary on a sport you didn't really know much about? Shaka was telling us he was doing like rowing
Football.
and...
Well, some people will say football.
Got him!
Yeah.
Bravo.
Well, I used to do, believe it or not, I used to commentate on track and field for about 4 years, largely because when I was working at BBC Radio, there wasn't really anybody else at all who had any handle on it. So I had to learn track and field, which is like
Track's
about
tough.
13 sports in one. You know, it's a sport where
Yeah.
you have the hammer throw as well as 100-meter sprinting. I mean, could they be more different? But they're all under the umbrella of track and field. So I did the 1988 Olympics track and field when Ben Johnson, who was on rocket fuel, of course, won the gold medal, which was later taken away from him.
And turns out he wasn't the only one on rocket fuel in that race.
That's tough, track. Track's tough.
Is it?
Well,
You've called...
Well, you got to put one foot in front of the other as quick as you can. I mean, that's kind of it, right?
Yeah.
Right. Since we're telling Ian stories, and he's talking about a 100-meter dash, I have seen Ian
Oh, yes.
running
Yeah.
a 100-meter dash in the
Yeah.
streets of Copacabana in Brazil. I've seen this.
That's true.
Nobody told me the story. I've seen it multiple times in his white shoes, just flying down the streets of Copacabana, just doing sprints.
Remember, Neda Manua told us he could run a 10.6 100-meter. What do you think Ian's
Oh,
doing?
it wasn't in the 10 seconds. So I'm not saying
I think Nelson was
seen
a
him do it.
proper athlete, wasn't he?
I've seen him do it at the Doubletree, opposite the Doubletree Hotel in Bristol, Connecticut. 100 yards
careful who you
sprint,
I went on
walk
the
across the
Copacabana
top,
beach.
100 yards
I
sprint.
bought a football. Stuart, I brought a football out and started kicking the ball against the wall on my own. And within about 3 minutes, 15 Brazilian guys had come up to join in and have a game.
You showed them up, I presume.
I was outclassed.
Ian, ever so popular. All right, I'll rank these World Cup final performances. Pelé in 1970, Maradona in 86, Messi in 2002. I'm going to start with Ian, but I just want to clarify. Are we saying the performance in the final or the whole finals production? What are we asking here? All right, well, since they're not talking to me.
Well, that's a tough one because see, this is a tough one because had Pelé not played for Brazil in 1970, they might still have won the World Cup.
Right.
If Maradona doesn't play for Argentina, they absolutely wouldn't have won a World Cup. When you're saying that, you could also say that about Messi, couldn't you?
Yeah, yeah, you can. But that's what makes the question tough, Stevie. I agree with you, though.
Yeah.
If we're ranking these in terms of performances, I would say Pelé in 1970 Brazil in this particular list would be at the bottom of the list. And then beyond that, it's when it gets tricky.
Ian, what do you think?
Well, I'm not sure about who's second and third, but I think Maradona in 1986 won the World Cup for Argentina. That really was the nearest you get, I think, to a one-man show.
Robbo, you agree?
Absolutely, Maradona. Then I would go with Pelé just because when I was a youngster, I was 6 years old, 7 years old, watching that World Cup. Pelé was the player that stood out. And you see so many clips of him doing outrageous things and playing brilliantly. So I'd go with Pelé. And then last of all, Messi, although he still had a good World Cup.
Now, you can argue that Pelé's best World Cup was in 1958 in Sweden, when he was at his youngest. And for whatever videos that you see or whatever stories you read, we talk about young players now. Yeah, this guy was the guy at that age and was doing crazy things in games that truly matter. Individual performances in a World Cup, it doesn't get any better than Maradona in 1986. And that's not romanticizing anything. It's just a matter of fact, a matter of just watching him play and saying, no, we're winning this game because of me. Give me the ball. I will go score. I will go make a play. Messi would be second in that list, and then I would have Brazil in 1970, just because the totality of the team. It's nothing against Pelé. It's that 1970 team of Brazil could potentially be the best team ever in the history of mankind. That's how good they were.
He was kind of the icing on the cake of that team, right, in 70. Was the 86 semifinal against, was that Belgium, Argentina, Belgium?
Yes.
That was, oh my, the highlights of that game.
Yeah, well, you go quarters England,
all of them.
semis Belgium, and then, of course, the final against West Germany.
Dwayne Looney asks, for all, do you think the superstardom of Bellingham could affect Mbappe's decision on choosing to play for Real Madrid? Or do you think he would relish the thought of playing in a team with Bellingham, serving him up goals on a silver platter? What do you think, Stevie?
If he doesn't go to a team because somebody's going to take the limelight, it
was a different position. That wouldn't seem to be the attitude of a top-tier footballer.
There's something wrong with your wiring up top, if that's your thought.
You don't believe Mbappe would think that way, though, do you?
Honestly, after the last, 3 years with the whole Real Madrid shebang, I'm not so sure he's wired properly. It is a stretch to think that he wouldn't go because of that, though.
Are you laughing at Stevie claiming that somebody else isn't wired properly yet? Is that what's happening here?
He would know. He would know.
He's not. The Earth's been left out.
Ale, your thoughts?
I have to believe that good players want to play with good players. And that having a guy like Jude Bellingham on the team would make Kylian Mbappe's job easier, and that they can both shine together. And let's not forget about Vinny Jr. And yes, if anybody would be worried about his position in a team, if Mbappe were coming, is, well, what happens with Vinny? Does he have to leave that left-hand side, or does Mbappe play down the middle and Vinny stays down the left? I mean, that's first-class problems right there. And if that's what's keeping you from signing with a team, then you are in the wrong profession, I believe.
For Stevie, in their Liverpool prime, start, bench, or sell, Suarez, Salah, Torres. Prime.
Suarez.
I think, I mean, Torres was unplayable.
You love prime Torres. Every time a question like this comes up, you always go prime Torres.
You couldn't play against him.
You all right?
No.
So then what do you do with the other two?
Listen, as great as Suarez was, I think the other two are slightly ahead. Salah, you can't argue with Salah's goals. I mean, it's just outrageous the amount of goals that he scored. I think overall I've got to go with Torres.
Okay.
Yeah, because the goals, yes, and you're talking prime, so at the very best, I go Torres.
Ian, our resident historian, you agree with Stevie?
No, I'm going to go Salah. 188 goals for Liverpool, and he's going to add to that as well. So I'd have Salah as the starter. Mind you, Suarez was pretty unplayable, wasn't he, in his time? And so was Torres for a while at Liverpool. So that is a tough one. But, you know, hey, look, I'm in a corner and I've got to give an answer, so I'm going Mo Salah.
Another question for Stevie. Scots in the 80s and 90s were playing for Liverpool, Everton, and Man United. How was the dynamic back then when your rival country mates returned, Sharp, Strachan, Hogg, etc., and with Rangers, Celtic? No problems?
No. None.
But like now everybody's very friendly, right? Like now there used to be club rivalries in national teams. That's pretty much gone now. Back in your day, there was none of that still? No. Really?
No, I mean, when Celtic and Rangers lads used to join us, they would be having a carry-on. Roy Aitken and Coyster.
Really?
Roy Aitken and Coyster would be having a carry-on and winding each other up and the whole thing.
Did any of that ever get out? Like, would it have gotten out to the public, and would the public have reacted negatively if they saw them hanging out together while on international duty?
No.
No?
No. No, we had no problem at all. No. The problem we had was we weren't that good as a team. That was the problem.
It's a minor issue.
I wish we'd hated each other, but we were a great team. Unfortunately,
everybody loved everybody.
We used to meet on a Sunday night, and The dynamic was Celtic players, Rangers players, United players, Liverpool players, Everton players, Leeds players. We were all sat in the bar together, and we always had a good Sunday night.
And that kind of cleansed everybody of their...
There was never. And if you'd had a little set to anybody, then you just sorted it out. Like Brian McClare, for example, we were playing at Anfield, and I dummied to clear a ball, and he stopped. And I dummied again, and he stopped. And he dummied again, and I stopped. And at the end of the game, we're in the bar, and he came up to me and went, you were taking the, weren't you? I went, no. I said, I couldn't play it. I wasn't trying to wind you up. He's like, all right. And about 2 months later, he organised me a lift from Manchester, from Old Trafford, back to Troon, with his mates.
Buddies.
Hey,
yeah.
If you had a set to, he sorted it out.
For Ale.
Oh, okay.
Start, bench, drop, your favorite saying. Lukaku, I know a dive when I see one, 100%.
Well, okay, first of all, Lukaku is not mine. That's Stevie's. I just mock Stevie. Lukaku! So therefore, that one is...
dropped.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, in fact, I'm going to sell that one. Well, no, yeah, drop. And I'm going to bench, I know a dive when I see one, because 100% has to be number one.
The most flexible, the most versatile 100%.
Yeah, well, you can use it on many different scenarios. I know a dive when I see one. It's very specific, and Lukaku's not mine. So there you go. Lukaku.
Yeah.
Ian, what was the worst ground you have ever commentated at, and what made it so unpleasant? Let's name some names. Let's make some enemies.
Some gantries.
Well, I don't want to be nasty about this club at all, because it's a nice club. But the worst experience I ever had commentating was on the roof at a club called Port Vale, which Stevie will know is also in Stoke. And the conditions were rather like an Atlantic trawler, you know, a major storm going on. There was no cover. All the microphones kept shorting out. The players were covered and you couldn't see their numbers. Yeah, it was the commentary from hell to work at Port Vale that day.
I went back to Port Vale when I was at the Revs to scout a player who was playing in the game.
What league were they in at the time?
Oh, I had to be the third division.
Okay.
And it had not changed from when I played the last time I was there.
Really?
And
How many years had...
98, it would be 2008. So that'd be a decade. Yeah, a decade since I'd been there. That was the same day in the last game of the season when, for some reason, I decided, the final whistle went, it was the last game of the season, I was at Notts County, and I decided to grab the ball and hold on to it. And everybody else, all the fans from Port Vale, were all streaming on the field, and they were trying to grab the ball, and I wasn't getting them it. And after about the third one, I tried to get it off me, I thought, why am I keeping this ball? She went like that and ran off. I was like, what are you doing?
Nah.
But no, what a place. Oh, shocking.
But your passport was valid back then.
It was, yeah. I didn't need one.
Robbo, our next question wants to know about your wardrobe on match days. Do you wear suits when doing commentary? By the way, this person is a big fan of your commentary.
Oh, hello.
Do I wear suit? Depends whether I'm going to be in vision or not. So, and depends who I'm commentating with. When I'm with Ian, I always wear a shirt and a tie and a jacket because he's so smartly dressed. When I'm with Derek, I don't bother because he's a scruffy individual. So, but most of the time, I'll wear a collar and a tie and a jacket, depending how cold it is. But yeah, the last couple of times we went to Germany, it was boiling hot, so suits weren't the order of the day. It was a polo shirt, as I'm wearing now.
I will say this, Robbo always has sharp look, very smartly dressed.
Clean.
Yeah.
Very clean.
Well, kind of the two of them are very English gentlemanly, aren't they?
Robbo and Ian.
Robbo and Ian, yeah. Very English gentlemanly.
Although when he said scruffy, when Robbo said scruffy, I thought he was talking about Ian, but he was talking about Derek, actually.
Yeah, their scruff's different to our scruff.
I can be scruffy. I definitely can.
I've seen it.
Yeah. Thanks, sir.
All right, who would you sit next to on a 5-hour plane ride? Ronaldo or Messi? Why? And for this hypothetical, there are no language barriers. Robbo, who you sit next to on a 5-hour plane ride? Ronaldo or Messi?
Well, you know how miserable I am. I wouldn't want to speak to anybody, and I don't think Messi would want to speak to me. But Ronaldo would probably tell you all what a great player he is and all the things he's achieved. So I'd sit next to Messi and not say anything to him, probably.
Okay, Robbo. Ian, are you going to talk to either of these two greats or just keep to yourself?
Well, imagine being in one of those seats, you know, where there's 3 seats and you had Ronaldo on one side and Messi on the other. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? I think I'd go for Messi. There's a bit more mystique about Messi, isn't there?
Yeah, I like that answer.
Mind you, I think it would depend if he'd been double vaccinated or not, Ian, whether you'd sit next to him.
Yeah, well, they'd have to have that check. As long as he had his mask with him, yeah.
No.
Well, it would depend, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Is anybody coughing on this plane as well? That's very important to you.
Can you get on the flight to begin with?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
There's so many barriers to this hypothetical for Stevie.
Yeah, that's the easy bit, actually, in this question. Getting on the plane, what would we talk about? Can we do a boss?
Yes.
Or a coach?
Yes. 5-hour coach ride.
I'll probably go with Messi.
Yeah? Yeah.
For the very same reasons that Stewie said Messi. 100% Messi, yes. There'll be no talking, which is absolutely completely fine with me.
I like Ian's response. There's more mystique about Messi.
Well,
right?
imagine the mystique that he'll have.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN Plus.